Back to the Dean Obeidallah show. Joining us now is our friend Congressman Mark Pocan, a Democrat representing Wisconsin's 2nd District, serves in the House Appropriation Committee, co-founder and co-chair of the Labor Caucus. He also has a podcast with Liberty and Justice for Some. Congressman Pocan, very nice to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, especially on your birthday.
Thank you. This is how we do the special birthday show. So it's good to have you on. So, earlier today we learned 4 House Republicans and I guess swing district type of things, including Mike Lawler from New York, not far from where I live, said they signed a discharge petition to compel a vote on extending the ACA subsidy that Republicans already had voted and gutted and Donald Trump signed. So tell us a little bit, like behind the scenes, what do you think led to this and what's happening?
Well, I think, as you said, they're all swing district folks. And, right now elections aren't looking good for them. So this may be survival. Those spines are now maybe made of Jell-O. We're waiting for a little more solidification on things. But it is at the point that we can force a vote on extending the tax credits. The thing is, it would be great if we could do it right now when people don't lose their credits. Right now, it could more likely happen in January. So we're trying to see if there's a way to do it this week. But also, I saw most recently, I think the speaker say, we got to quit calling him the speaker because the House is no longer a co-equal branch of government. We got to call him, the guy with the office of the former speaker, or I don't know. We got to find a better name because he's really not the speaker. But he has said there could be a reconciliation bill with healthcare at the beginning of the year because I think they're feeling the pressure. But the bottom line is the Republicans are tanking in polls because of affordability, healthcare, housing, groceries. Some of that's caused by Republican Congress, some is caused by the president. But at the end of the day, a Republican has caused everything that's making us pay more. And on healthcare, because people will start paying this in January, it's go time.
So can you explain to people logistically now? So there's the signatures for the discharge petition, 218 signatures.
Yep.
Hakeem Jeffries filed it. So that triggers a certain set of rules in the House. Can you share a little bit what happens now?
Yeah. So most likely the vote would happen in January, but you could do it sooner if the speaker chose to. Of course, I don't think he's going to because of his dysfunctional caucus, but we're going to try to push him to it because if you do it now, no one pays more in January. If you wait till January, people start paying more under the policies of the big ugly bill, and everyone is paying more for health insurance, period, because of that proposal. So there's a smarter way to do it, but Congress and smarter have never usually been said in the same sentence. So my guess is that Mike Johnson will continue to do what he's told by the White House. We're not a co-equal branch of government, according to Mike Johnson. And we'll see what happens tonight, too, with the president talking. I think you're going to hear a little bit about affordability. You're going to hear a little saber rattling around Venezuela, but they're feeling the pain. And the folks in those swing districts are the first ones at least saying, ouch.
Can you remember another speaker who had 2 discharge petitions where members signed on to the minority party? Because the Epstein one first, and then this one. Can you recall another time this happened?
No, and there's a whole bunch. I mean, the only way we can do anything these days is with a discharge petition because Mike Johnson, truly, I thought, Kevin McCarthy, without question, would go down as the worst speaker in American history. And boy, I'm sorry, Kevin, you're the second worst. Mike Johnson barely, like I said, reaches the level of a speaker. He's the Speaker of the House of Representatives. That means Democrats and Republicans. He's the third in line to be president. He has a responsible role, and he's acting like he's the guy who cleans the boots for the president. It's ridiculous. And the fact that we're no longer a co-equal branch of government with actual responsibilities is all up to Mike Johnson. So, if this is what he wants to go down in history of, fine, but it's pretty terrible for the House of Representatives.
So, a lot of talk, obviously, in the Senate. They try to move something forward. It didn't overcome the filibuster. Is the hope being that if it actually passed the House, then it builds more pressure on the Senate? And are you hopeful it can then pass there?
Yeah, because I think more people will vote for it when it's on the floor too, right? They may not be brave enough to sign a discharge petition, but they also are brave enough to want to not be unelected. And, I think especially with the holidays, if people get back home and they get it in their ear, there's a chance we can see the Senate act as well. But if they don't, I'll tell you right now, I've seen so much polling, Dean. I mean, they are in a tough spot. If you just took the elections from Tennessee, which, by the way, we didn't go all in on because it was such a Republican district. So all the efforts were not there, but the people were there. If you extrapolated that, we would pick up 43 seats in November, right? And that's without even having an effort by Democrats heavily in that district.
Well, that would be remarkable. We'll hold on to that dream for a little while. It's a long way
Yes.
to November. I think it's very good. So, you mentioned that Donald Trump's giving a speech tonight. We're encouraging people to watch a Rob Reiner film instead of watching the speech. In any event, that JD Vance yesterday backed up Donald Trump and said the economy is A++. That Trump had said that before, and JD Vance backed it up in Pennsylvania. And unemployment is now 4.6%, the highest in 4 years. New polling today shows that Trump's handling the economy get the lowest numbers it ever has.
Yep.
Consumer confidence is down to levels of during COVID shutdowns. What are you seeing in Wisconsin to make it not statistics but real life? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, I think they meant asterisk except for groceries, asterisk except for durable goods, asterisk except for healthcare, asterisk except for utilities, asterisk except for housing. All of those things we're paying more on, and we're seeing it back home. And honestly, I have actually, usually I'm busy with this job, but I had to go to the good groceries here in Washington, and Whole Foods is near my place here. Usually I get a couple bags and it comes to $150, which, it's a lot. This time I went and it was $170, and I didn't get anything different because I'm a creature of habit, but I saw the cost happening in that way. And people can tell you what a gallon of milk is going for and what a carton of eggs is going for. And when they're seeing these costs go up, it's real. And the healthcare stuff is going to be super real next month for a whole lot of people. So, my guess is Donald Trump will try to spin affordability. And if he claims it's a hoax, I think he takes them down even further because everyone knows it's not. And I think this is an issue that, if they don't respond to more quickly, this could be why we have a big win in the House and maybe Senate in November.
There's a really good book out now called 1929. Aaron Ross Sorkin wrote from CNBC. He wrote Too Big to Fail as well, but it's all about leading up to the Great Depression. And Herbert Hoover was literally, there's quotes in this book, which sound like Trump. They're more elegant than Trump, but saying things like if the media would just stop writing about unemployment, we would all be fine. Like literally saying that kind of stuff. And it's not about a bad economy. It's just morale is down. And I can just get people to feel good about themselves, their economy will be fine. And that was on the precipice of the Great Depression after the stock market crash of 1929. So, I mean, you've seen people do it before. You can't tell them the economy is better or worse than they're feeling. And Trump this is political malpractice. Like, this is like outrageous. So I guess tonight he will say, I imagine he'll do what he did. I had Congressman Omar on last night. I said, what do you think the speech should be? It'll be about me. He said, he'll talk about me probably, but he'll say, I'm the number one. I'm so concerned with affordability, but I don't think we'll see any policies to address it. I don't know what they'll do.
Well, he'll say things that don't really affect it, but he's gold leaf the Oval Office. He's building a $300 million ballroom. That's, by the way, 10 times the average square foot cost of building a ballroom, is at the rate that he's building it for the number of square feet. And then at the same time saying that it's a hoax to talk about affordability. And everyone knows that's false. And I just saw this morning, I think people had a 12% increase in utility costs that's coming through because we're starting to see those effects of the big ugly bill. We already have been seeing it in groceries. You're seeing it in durable goods as people are doing things for the holidays and the end of the year. And housing has remained high. But the rest have been caused either by the big ugly law or by the use of tariffs in an indiscriminate way. So, I think he's going to probably offer some sort of maybe rebate around the tariffs, some BS. Again, he's going to keep that stuff up. Things I think that may never even happen. But the reality is, again, people are smarter than Republicans think they are. And he could really flop tonight big time.
Well, we'll see. I'm surprised he'll be awake at 9 o'clock. I mean, he can stay awake at 3 o'clock during the afternoon at a cabinet meeting. I don't know what they're going to give him, some cocktail of Red Bull and Adderall or something. Have him pumped up there, but it'll be, I've seen reports that he's going to bring up again the $2,000 for every person type of, which, hey, that's nice. You didn't want to run up the deficit, but you can do that to help people. That's a one-time thing. You can burn through $2,000 with a family in food shopping in a very short period of time. So,
Have you looked at the increased cost people have already paid because of the tariffs? That's already a good chunk of that money is gone. You're just getting kind of a little bit of it back. But like you said, those are going to keep going. And um, we're seeing it in all the polling. Again, people are smart and they get that they're paying more. And if he just keeps trying to put his head in the sand, it's not going to go well for them.
How much is it when you look to 2026? Does it Democrats will have to articulate a vision of how to bring prices down? I mean, I guess the simplest one is we're going to get rid of the tariffs. If you give us the House, we'll do whatever we can.
Yeah.
And that's a concrete one. I mean, are there other things? Obviously, we may get the Senate, we may not, but they'll still have the White House. Or will the Democrats just make it a referendum on Donald Trump in 2026?
No, absolutely. We're also going to show other things to do to bring affordability, because that's part of it is Donald Trump is inflicting wounds he doesn't have to inflict with tariffs, but also he didn't do anything to address affordability that he promised us last November. So we have to do both. There's things you can turn back that Donald Trump's done that's hurting us, but also we got to do a lot more. And we already have some of those bills out there that we're putting, but absolutely it's both that have to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, with Zohar Mamdani winning in New York, the reason he had credibility, very specific proposals. You could like them or not, but you knew what they were about. You knew they were going to help your lives, from freezing rent to childcare to free buses, and other things with it's more of a test program, but a city-run grocery store, one in each borough, and that kind of thing. It was very concrete, and that gave him credibility. So I hope Democrats can take a page from that and what will work. I know on a national level it's different. We don't have the White House, but that really helped him. And that's what,
No, we're already talking about it. There already is some legislation out there. I mean, so it's not as though we're learning at this point. We know it. And there'll be more provisions out there to be had.
I'm chatting with Congressman Mark Pocan. To shift gears a little bit, Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump loves to talk about foreign affairs. Everything's Venezuela, including the new sort of blockade. It's kind of, first I saw blockade. I'm like, that's an act of war. Then you read it. It's really like a lot of exceptions, or it's one thing, but he loves talking about Venezuela and Hegseth, and they're bragging about these extrajudicial killings, no due process, international waters of people. And I mean, is that something that comes up when you're in Wisconsin? Is this breaking through and people have questions about this? Because I think it's so alarming.
Well, and I'm sure he's going to talk about this tonight, because we finally had a classified briefing this week. Wow. And, two things. One, I mean, Pete Hegseth is like a 12-year-old with a video game, right? He acts like none of this is real and he's just having fun. And, honestly, in watching him in a classified setting, what a piece of work, right? I mean, this guy is so out of his realm. But watch for more. This is more than just Venezuela. I think Venezuela is about, also going after Cuba. I think it's also about oil for a lot of Trump's donors. But he also is starting to talk about Colombia, and he sanctioned the Colombian president. They're working with us in drug eradications. He's attacking the person who actually is helping us. And there's ships on both sides of Colombia as well in all of this. So there's a lot more, I think, happening than he's really presenting. And we are starting to notice it. Members of Congress here are talking about this. So I'm worried that the guy who got the coveted FIFA Peace Prize is going to start something that's broader than just this attack on Venezuela, but it's really about regime changes in the Western Hemisphere. And don't forget, they put out some Monroe Doctrine-like statements this year justifying doing that.
I mean, you would see it more as regime change? Like, look, America has a long history. I was a political science major of doing this around the world and in Latin America, of course, and through Ronald Reagan. I mean, we saw it even more.
Yes. Yep.
You go back to Allende in Chile under Nixon. I mean, we've done this all the time. You see it regime change, or you think actual acts of war? Like, we're going to do more?
Well, I think everything is on the table. Look, so in Argentina, he likes the leader. He gives them money that he should have gave American farmers, right? Instead goes to Argentina. Venezuela, he doesn't like them. There's oil to be had, and they're probably the biggest supporter of Cuba right now. And they're claiming that it's, because someone could attack the United States. Cuba's not attacking the United States. No one's going to hurt the United States. So that's all BS. But now when you start pulling in Colombia, where the government's friendly and working with the United States on drug eradication, and you start talking about some of the Central American countries, and then we pardon the Honduran leader who was a major drug dealer, like, none of it makes sense because it's Donald Trump. But what does make sense is they're definitely moving towards trying to put in friendlier folks, and whether it's for ideological reasons, like I think Marco Rubio wants, or because it's going to benefit the Trump family, because that's what Donald Trump wants, together they will have shared interests.
Donald Trump Jr. will be the next president of Colombia. This is an insane.
Well, I think he cares more about is, does he make money out of some hotel chains or something else in Colombia? Because I think, we all know Eric's the brains of the operation. So, but,
it's remarkable. Look, America, our foreign policy has a history of the government doing things to help multinational corporations make more money, like through a period of time, right? We haven't had the president's family actually profit off it. This is it was not good before, but this is a different level of corruption.
I mean, Jared Kushner, who's been, kind of in the background, is now putting deals together to buy corporations with foreign leaders because they know how it works. This is still a big grift, right? So as long as Trump can grift and Rubio can, do what he needs to do with Cuba, I mean, they're going to work together on all of this. And then you've got an idiot like Pete Hegseth in charge of, our Department of War. I mean, all of this is like, the GoFundMe for Idiocracy 2, right? Like this is they're telling you what they're going to put in it. Now put some money into it, but it's real life.
It very much is so. And, they're just lucky oil prices are very, very low right now.
Yeah.
Like $50, $51 a barrel. Because when they did the blockade on Venezuela, that could have made it shoot up. But no one thinks that Trump's going to do anything to interrupt the flow of oil. But if all you need is that, and you want to see another price go up and things unaffordable, he is lucky that oil is where it is and there's a glut right now. And it really is like $50, $51. Like it's a barrel. It's insanely low right now. We're like a different time period. By the way,
but don't forget, those folks have the long range, right? They don't care about an immediate month of profit. Long term, they have a friendly guy in there. They crank the prices back up, and then we're all paying more for a long sustained period, and it's more profitable.
By the way, in Wisconsin, I mean, we saw the new jobs report yesterday. What's true is unemployment's gone up. I don't really trust the administration fully, but it's at least 4.6%. When Trump came in, it was 4%, the highest in 4 years. In Wisconsin, are you seeing anything? Are people talking about loss of jobs, be it through tariffs, AI, whatever it might be, slowdown?
Yes, all the above, but especially around tariffs. I mean, we're a manufacturing state. I've got a company, and I'll try to not say who they are, but they sell a product worldwide, a major medical device, and half their market is China right now. They source 70% of what they do from the United States, so they're paying more for that other 30% that they have to have come in, and now they can't sell. So around the world, they're replacing people who already have this equipment, but half of their market is China for getting it for the first time. And, because of tariffs, they're in an awful place. Well, that's manufacturing jobs. And I've heard that from other manufacturers, similar sort of stories. So when you are the upper Midwest with manufacturing, plus look at what they did in the big ugly law around renewables. I mean, Iowa, I'll tell you, Iowa has 3 out of the 4 districts are competitive districts that Democrats could pick up. I think you could see the majority of the House representatives come out of Omaha, Iowa, Wisconsin, and maybe a pickup or 2 in Michigan. Upper Midwest could literally deliver the congressional majority right now.
That's interesting. And I'm glad. I know you really studied the data on polling. We've talked about this many times in the past. Last couple of things. One is, Trump yesterday added more countries to ban, now including my relatives. People in the West Bank can't come here anymore. And I don't even know. I mean, the PA, the Palestinian Authority, works with the Israelis. They know that. This is just bullshit. It's not like the Palestinians. Now, from Gaza, I can understand there are more of a concerns. But in the West Bank, there shouldn't be any issues whatsoever. And I don't know if it's Marco Rubio, who really hates Palestinians, or others there doing that. I just want to get your reaction to that.
I just think it's the general bigotry of Donald Trump and his base, right? It doesn't matter. If you ask the average person to find Israel or Palestine on a map, that's a Trump supporter, much less the West Bank to Gaza. I mean, no one there is really getting the intricacy of this. But, don't forget, we've got people like, what's his name? Randy Fine.
Randy Fine is horrible.
Oh, my God.
He's vile.
Well, he's just this bloated hatred, because he's trying to get attention. whether it be of Trump or the national MAGA movement, but saying the most outrageous, hateful things about anyone who's Muslim. It's off the charts. If any of our folks went 1/10 that far, they would censure them or talk about expelling them. And right now, it's just in vogue with the MAGA movement, bigotry, period, especially around people who are Muslim. So I think it's more of a part and parcel of that. And again, if you look at most of the countries Donald Trump's going after, that is a big factor.
Yeah, and Randy Fine, I mean, what gets lost a little bit, he has called for the idea of killing all Palestinians, oppressing all Palestinians, which means hundreds of thousands of Christians. And so he's also an anti-Christian bigot. Now, he can't articulate that, and it's not probably against all Christians, but Palestinian Christians are suffered, been killed, and being oppressed, and he supports that. And I really wish people would call him out on the anti-Christian bigotry. So let him try to go through the eye of a needle and explain, well, I just mean the Muslims. No, you mean Palestine, you mean anyone who dares to stand up to you. So there are Christians and Muslims, and it's not just Muslims, it's Christians. So he really is an anti-Christian bigot, because I've written about him in the past. But speaking of bigotry, last thing I saw, Pam Bondi now wants to create cash bounties for people who are trans equality activists, according to reporting. And it's some weird thing where it makes it clear that targets of domestic terrorist organizations will be Antifa-aligned extremists, including those promoting, quote, radical gender ideology. And they want the FBI, she actually instructed the FBI to create a, quote, cash reward system to incentivize people providing information about these people. Where is this going?
It's just more of their rhetoric justifying the stupidity and the discrimination that they do on a regular basis, right? That this is their appealing to the base. The problem is the base is not the majority of the country. And if they want to keep shrinking their support, fine, let them do this. But look, I enjoyed the hearings this week when I think it was Benny Thompson was asking an FBI official about Antifa. And he said, well, where are they located? And this long pause, you could tell the guy's like, oh my God, I have to give an answer to this. And then he said, well, we're in the process or something. And it was a very telling that even professionals within the FBI that aren't political appointees are just going, WTF, like, what can I really say that doesn't make me look like a moron right now as I'm testifying before Congress?
Yeah, and if the FBI would focus on the person who killed the 2 students at Brown University, instead of these games, maybe that person would be found. But instead, you have Kash Patel doing podcasts with Stephen Miller's wife, Dan Benoino, I ruined his name. I think it's subconscious. I should know. Is leaving. I mean, the reporting is just a short time ago that he really is leaving. It's the level of incompetence that Trump has visited about our country. As long as you're loyal, he doesn't care how competent or incompetent you are, and we suffer as a result.
Yeah, he needed to put at least 1 out of 3 people to be knowing what they're doing, and he didn't. They said to look good on Fox on video, and they had to be loyal. And if that's your only measuring stick, we're seeing the consequences of that. The good news is, in this short of a time, it's been less than a year, he's dropped all of this level in support. And again, it just gives me a good feeling about the American people that we are better than Donald Trump represents us around the world.
Absolutely. Well, Congressman, it's great seeing you, my friend. I wish you happy holidays for you and your family. A happy new year. I look forward to chatting with you in 2026 about all the things that are, who knows what's going to come up then, but I look forward to chatting with you.
Well, same to you, and enjoy your birthday. I assume you're not going to be listening to the president, because I know I would never do that on my birthday.
I would not do it any day. Not this guy. I will read the transcript. I will read the text. I always do, but I'm not watching. Thanks, Congressman. Have a great day.